In today's era, if we define what is digital marketing and what we see the future of digital marketing,
Yeah.
now in recent time we see the impact of AI on the content generation. Okay, so how you see the impact of AI in content generation? How it's leading? Is it helping digital marketing, or is it creating also some threat for content creator, content professional?
You brought up a very good point because the entire story I had mentioned that.
Hello everyone and welcome to Career Conversion Podcast. In this podcast, we invite industry experts from various domains to share their learnings and experience. In today's episode, we have very special guest Rashid Ahmed. Rashid has more than 20 years experience in digital marketing and previously he was working as Chief Digital Officer at Infectious Advertising. So today we are going to discuss what are the career opportunities in digital marketing. So welcome Rashid to the show.
Thank you so much. Glad to be here and looking forward to providing some insights that are useful for all your viewers.
Thank you so much. How you started in digital marketing?
I was interested in marketing all along because during my college days, and this was in the late 90s, in fact, I was doing a lot of part time work with a number of organizations where there was a lot of field marketing, research based work involved, all geared towards bringing in marketing understanding. Early thousands, there was this really large focus on search engines and search directories. So after my postgrad, my first job onwards, I was in charge of managing a website. This was in 2003, and managing a website, doing media management. 5 year stint at contract advertising after that, where during my period there, I had the opportunity to lead and work on iContract, which had a number of brands. So after that contract, I joined large telecom, and I was there for 4 years, where I was responsible for building up the entire digital marketing infrastructure. After that, I took a break. I wrote a book, and after I finished writing the book, I came into infectious advertising, where I spent the last 3.5 years or so as the chief digital officer. So my last role, in fact, involved a great deal of strategy-based initiatives and how brands can roll out effective strategies so that they're able to accomplish what they set out to do. So yes, that's pretty much been my journey, all the way from learning about digital marketing and then working through a career where there has been a significant amount of continuous learning, which is a very important thing to be able to a get know-how and knowledge about new aspects of digital marketing and to
Right.
be able to implement it all.
Right. And in today's era, if we define what is digital marketing and what we see the future of digital marketing.
Yeah. So I'm going to start off with the aspect of technology. And the thing about technology is that technology builds upon technology, right?
Right.
So the rate of both technical intensity as well as improvement is not a linear graph. I
Right.
mean, one thing does not lead to another, one thing leads to many things. So there was a period in time where marketing, digital marketing itself, was many little aspects where specializations were required. Now it is, yes, you have to know about how to utilize and do all those individual things, but how do you bring it together?
Right.
So, over the last few years, the area or arena of digital marketing has all been about integrating and utilizing various aspects of technologies,
Right.
creativity, automation to be able to synchronously deliver communication that then results in some kind of conversion for the organizations that are running their advertising efforts.
So to summarize, technology is always there. The evolution of technology is helping the organization to create more touch points for the customer to interact with the brand and create the right marketing and sales channel. And with the advance of technology, the more things will be automated. So more channel and more automation will be used to interact with the customer. That's what we are targeting, right?
So essentially, yes, there is a lot of automation in place for most businesses to access and use nowadays, even for a very small business or even a startup. The next stage from here is, yes, there is omni-channel marketing that is happening utilizing integrated marketing suites, but it is now moving towards omni-channel. That means delivering to what you as or anyone as a customer is likely to utilize or most comfortable with, and utilizing the interactions that they are most comfortable with as well. And this is now moving towards from automation, which is rules based organization. It is moving towards a self learning system where that automation is self improving as well.
So we see that digital marketing is not a single domain, right? There are multiple subdomains are part of the digital marketing, right? So if you go one by one much deeper in that one, can you explain what are different areas of subdomains in digital marketing and what are the skills required to expertise each domain?
So I will break it down into four parts. The first, of course, is a very deep understanding of customer and consumer. Now, whether it is on a B2C side or B2B side, it is very vital for any individual within the marketing environment to understand within a business context what customers are, who they are, how they actually interact, behavior, etc. So, within marketing itself, customer understanding is one of the most important aspects, because if you
Right.
don't know how or who you're talking to, one does not have the means to be able to then communicate with them and to engage with them. So that is the first part. And that involves studying behavioral marketing. It involves studying and utilizing aspects of research to be able to get what the current state of customer is, and to be able to understand what are the areas of customer background, interests, behavior, etc., that can be actually utilized to then go about the larger aspect, larger agenda of the marketing condition. Now, so that is the first part. So that involves understanding research. It involves understanding or distilling research to get value propositions that are effective for marketing. It involves behavioral science as another skill to be able to say, all right, if these are the value propositions, what are the reactions? How will customers and potentials react, and therefore what to do about it? Once that is put aside, the next part is then going about the content creation. Content is a very large portion because it involves multiple hops across a value chain, from awareness to getting people to engage, to getting them to interact, to getting them to then convert, and then getting them to hold on and value a brand as a individual or a persona that they are most comfortable with and treat as a friend, right? So it is an aspect of five, six different things, and there are multiple areas of communication that come into the content portion itself. For example, I'll just talk about awareness right now. But from the point of awareness, you have various infrastructure that are involved. It could be a website, it could be an application, it could be a messaging group, it could be third party sites that are referencing, it could be, in today's day and age, it could be an AI chat application that is doing the research for you. And it could also be word of mouth, right? In fact, there is a great deal of activity that happens to develop situations where word of mouth is actually propagated through digital media as well. We'll come to that. What I'm trying to say out here is, for the awareness stage, it could be this. For the initial experimentation or discovery stage, there could be a number of various points of contact. There could be, inside the next portion, which is engagement, a number of technologies and activities that could come into play to make it all happen, all of which requires some kind of content. The big portions, starting from awareness, is having a lot of content for a discovery in a simple manner that gets a point across, and to be able to provide any kind of consumer or researcher the kind of information they will need to then say, all right, I need detergent. I want to then go ahead and look up more and learn on what kind of detergents. So that kind of information needs to then move on to whatever type of platforms are available to be able to get that information across, saying that, all right, I'm aware of detergent, now I need to find out more about detergents, what they do. Is it green? Is it caustic? Is it, how does it work, etc., etc. Moving on from there, it is about, okay, I have now got my knowledge, coming into where it'll be utilized. So that is more factual information, and it goes into, all right, shortlisting process and looking at investigating maybe trial. And then getting into trial, you'll want to purchase one, purchase two, maybe a sachet, etc. And then after that, it is about filtering down or boiling down to holding a customer and giving more and more value over time. Now, the portion that I mentioned out here of what do you need to know, you'll need to know, one needs to know the entire bandwidth of
Mm-hmm.
all the interaction points across the entire sales or value chain, all the hops that are being utilized, and all the information delivery methods
Mm-hmm.
where communication and content is being delivered in the manner that is suitable, A, for the platform, and B, for the customer as well. Go one by one now onto the type of things that will be necessary. So I had mentioned earlier that I'm developing courses for digital marketing, and while setting up one of my courses, there was a list of all the available methods of running digital marketing. On the awareness front, and across the board for this, one of the most important points is a website or an application. It depends, or it could be both. A website or an application needs content, yeah, and that content needs to be searchable because, like I mentioned earlier,
Mm-hmm.
one of the first thing that individuals do is go in and search for material. It could
Right.
be via search engines, and now in today's day and age, it could be via voice search or via AI search.
Mm-hmm.
So the kind of content that needs to be there needs to be able to deliver for SEO, voice search, and AI search in today's day and age. So those are the kind of skills that would be required learning SEO from these particular aspects. SEO itself is broken up into two large areas. One is on-page SEO, one is
Okay.
off-page SEO. For the on-page SEO, it is content as well as a few technical measures that allow a website to be able to deliver the right type of content, searchable content, and intent based content, right?
Right.
On the off page side, it is about developing the relevancy and context to that particular core content. SEO is
Mm-hmm.
very important because SEO by itself is going to lead to a lot of other things. Because once there is a knowledge of SEO, the branching out of all other kind of media or
Mm-hmm.
all other kind of technologies have relevance to that initial stage. So
Right.
content development from an SEO perspective, very, very important. That is a core skill set, I would say, that is necessary for everything else. Understanding SEO will also give a person a very deep understanding of how websites work, how applications work, how content is delivered, and how content is consumed by audiences, and therefore the audience set is also taken care of. So this is what I would say ground zero of digital marketing. So if you visualize a website, you'll have multiple spokes then, saying that if that is at the point of the funnel where you want everyone to come to consume content and then to be able to engage and then to convert from there, where there is parting of information, personal information, then it moves on to, okay, what other kind of digital marketing and technologies come into play to be able to deliver that larger aspect of moving people into that particular this focal point. In marketing, we refer to that as a funnel.
Mm-hmm.
So within that funnel, you'll have various aspects, one of which, and is an important aspect, is social media. Because over the last decade now, a lot of engagement to consideration to conversion has moved into understanding what a brand or even an individual is talking about, and
Mm-hmm.
therefore what is the kind of relationship that an individual builds with a brand, and that is
Right.
the hop between awareness to discovery and engagement, and a lot of it resides on social media. So that means that understanding how the various platforms in social media works is a very important thing, and down to taking advantage of, okay, if it is a Facebook, which is now utilized as more of a publishing and visibility platform, or if it's an Instagram, which is more of a scroll through discovery and, in a manner of speaking, an entertainment platform, or
Mm-hmm.
is it going to be something like an X, formerly Twitter, which is more about a point of view platform? Understanding how each of the platforms works, what the manner of distributing media on those works, how it happens, and what are the kind of people who are on each of these platforms, does it then matter to the brand that is being worked on? And is it viable to have everything or some of it? So, understanding social media is a very important. This is from the organic point of view. I'll come to advertising going forward. In today's day and age, also, most people spend a lot of time on messaging applications,
Mm-hmm.
primarily WhatsApp.
Right.
It's very important for individuals to understand and know how WhatsApp might work and other platforms, if available, Messenger as well as Telegram. These are two other ones. There is a lot of automation capability built in. There is a lot of rules based organization that can be done on diverting conversations according to how the flow is going. For marketers today and for tomorrow, it is very important to understand how those interactions happen, how the platforms work, and how it integrates into the larger aspects of all other digital marketing platforms. These are the main areas, but it's not limited to that. There has to be a very good working knowledge of how advertising as a whole works in the digital space. And within advertising, there are a number of areas, including I'm just going in from intent based, so it's search advertising using either Google or Bing, etc., or even a Yahoo. There would be outcome next to social media marketing because it allows very sharp interest based, behavioral based, or even in terms of, say, it's LinkedIn, the kind of targeting where you are achieving either two specific type of companies, specific type of designations, people who travel frequently, whatever it may be. So social media advertising then is a very important aspect because it allows very sharp and detailed type of targeting. In today's day, has back-end machine learning to be able to self-improve and therefore lower the cost of overall marketing so that you're getting better bang for the buck. After that, a degree of display advertising, because display delivers repetition and reinforcement. And the more you see something, the more comfortable you become with it, the more familiar you become with it, and therefore the more likely it is for you to then go ahead and react to something that comes to you after a few times of seeing something. So
Right.
that's an important aspect. Going forward from there, of course, there are a few other things like automations that it's important to understand. So, for example, how to automate various type of marketing tactics. That being said, the portion of direct communication still holds a lot of water because once a consumer has parted with personal information, it could be mobile or it could be email or it could be messenger, there is a higher likelihood of converting once that information has been parted, as long as they're not barraged with information all the time. Then there's a little bit of hate and pushback, so
Right.
nobody wants that. So it's important to understand things like email marketing. It is also important to understand messenger marketing. It
Mm-hmm.
is also important to understand outbound messaging services like, or rather chat applications like WhatsApp and Telegram. So that's on the communication front. Each of these, finally, it is important to understand where it plays a role and what kind of content will be needed for each of the hops across the going through down into the funnel and across the entire marketing flow. So from awareness to getting hold of discovery, into engagement, into consideration, onto conversion, and then hand holding, which is a slightly long term thing. So all of these have a portion, all of these have content, all of these have a role to play across all of this on the entire funnel, where you bring people down to a conversation point or a point where they are now familiar with a particular brand to be able to hold a long term engagement. Now, that is on the assets side, right? So you have audiences, you have content that are relevant to those audiences,
Mm-hmm.
then you have various assets that you need to have a know-how of and what role they have to play in the entire chain or thread that you're leading consumers through. And finally, it is all about long-term value or lifetime value. Inside of marketing, it is very difficult to get hold of any kind of consumer's information. right?
Okay.
You may scour the web and get hold of whole lot of emails, but you will not be able to communicate to them without landing up in spam. I'm just giving an example, right? So getting hold of consumers' information is one of the most difficult things, especially when they are willingly giving it and for any particular purpose. So understanding data and data management then becomes a vital aspect. And this is
Right.
a regulatory thing.
Mhm.
So one of the things that I keep telling people is that you have to know what the law is allowing you to do. It is very important to then say, all right, how is the infrastructure systems allowing data processing to happen A, automatically, B, without too much of human intervention, and C, in a manner that consumers have control over that. Because then consumers are more willing to say, all right, my data is safe. I know that I have control over it. I'm willing to do business or to interact with an organization and a brand. So, understanding how data works, how data management works, how CMSs work, how backend systems and automations work, how personalization works is a very, very core part of digital marketing in today's day and age and for tomorrow. That pretty much sums up the entirety of what all people need to know from a digital marketing aspect. But for anyone entering the job market, you cannot know it all altogether because it takes a
Right.
lot of time, it takes experience, it takes hands-on working on various kind of technologies, content, knowledge platforms, information management platforms to develop the kind of familiarity needed to be able to become competent and a professional working within that domain. So what I normally tell people is learn one thing at a time and do it well.
Right. So, as you rightly summarized, there are multiple aspects in digital marketing. One is the consumer part, where to understand the consumer or customer very deeply. Then there is a whole journey of the customer, that what is which part of the funnel the customer exists. Then we have the content, that the content can be used at multiple stage of the customer journey, and then different options to distribute the content. Right, there can be SEO is one option to bring the traffic organically. Then we have social, okay, to create awareness. There are different multiple social media platform, and every platform has different types of content works over there, right? So these are the organic option, either the SEO or the social, where you can have the organic thing. Then there is a performance marketing, which is inorganic, to push the ad. Either it can be the search ad, it can be the display ad, to bring the traffic. And once all the traffic comes to a platform, you should have the proper funnel to convert it. And once the user is in the journey, then you need right communication to bring the engagement and make sure you carry the customers to the increase the LTV of the customer. That's what to
Absolutely.
summarize the overall thing.
Absolutely. And you've done a very, very good job of putting it all together in a very concise manner.
Okay,
Superb.
thank you. Right. So, but as you rightly mentioned, it's not possible for anyone to understand everything at once. It will go by slow, right? And if you go much deeper in that one, there are different skill set are required to perform each task, right? Because the SEO executive or SEO manager is completely different skill set than the social media manager, right? So, how you differentiate what are the skill set required from SEO perspective, social media perspective?
So, from an SEO perspective, it is essentially two things.
Mhm.
One is I'm going back to who is the consumer, who is the audience. So, very deep understanding of what the audience is all about, what their
Right.
triggers are, what their value propositions are, and then to understand content, how
Right.
content works, and that.
Mhm.
So, an SEO executive is going to be dealing with consumer behavior and content development. Yeah, those are the larger aspects. But it's also about delivering all of that to the
Mhm.
consumer via website. It could be a web app as well. It could be third party sites as well. And to be able to optimize content. So, ideally, how to develop content,
Mhm.
how to develop it for a particular type of persona set, and
Mhm.
how to then go about delivering that content either on page, off page, or via underlying systems, which is, for example, voice search or AI search in today's day and age. So an SEO is is actually a very difficult job to do,
Mhm.
and unfortunate as it is, most SEO, I would not say executive, but most SEO professionals today do the very basic requirements of generating and putting out content according to a specific checklist. Yes, that is important, but it is more important to make it relevant and contextual to a particular type of audience set. Otherwise, search engines automatically do not, in today's day and age again, do not rank it because of that contextual irrelevancy. The other thing is content development is well and good. You can develop, I mean, n number of content according to particular topics or topic buckets or even for particular keywords or phrases. However, there is this aspect of doing too much, right? And gone are the days when doing explosive amounts of content is going to drive traffic to a website or to a web app. It is now about relevancy to a particular type of audience persona set. And therefore, the cannibalization of content within one's own website or web app is something that is now making it a little more irrelevant. Focused content to the point, how to make it to the point, and how to make it relevant to a particular audience set. That is a very basic level, very core understanding that is required. Above that, then how do you develop content? How do you place content? How do you optimize the content? And how do you then deliver the content comes into play, which are checklist items. Yes, that is one skill set for SEO. On the social media part, it's all about getting platform specific know how, knowledge, and the real world skills to be able to execute. So there is a lot of information out there, either via schooling or via online resources or via talk shows or via platform delivered learning courses, where the theoretical knowledge of what to do and how to do is out there. And
Right.
people do it. People get the knowledge. Until and unless one's going about implementing that knowledge and how it actually functions does not set in. I have interviewed and deployed people into, I mean, there have been multiple organizations over the years where this has happened, where the know-how is there backed by courses, but the implementable knowledge is lacking because of the lack of real world application. So,
Right.
for where social media is concerned, both on content development and deployment and the advertising aspect of social media advertising, it is vital for everyone to actually have implementable knowledge and therefore the implementable skill set, saying that I know how to do this and I have done this for X amount of time. Because skills in this area, because again the technology is building on technology and improving and changing very fast, there is an erosion of skill if it is not being used and kept current. So it is, as skills for social media go, learn something, do it, and keep up to date. Those are the things for social media. There is then the aspect of marketing automation, or rather integrated systems, where all the various aspects, including email marketing, SMS marketing, WhatsApp marketing, social media marketing, display marketing, and to a fair degree now SEO as well, all comes into a single bucket where the technology pulls it all together, interacts it all together, and delivers the type of content that is meant to be delivered to the right point, place, and point. Now, depending on the type of industry or the kind of organization one is planning to get into or is already working on, individuals need to know how these systems work. It could be for one or two pieces, it could be social media and for SEO, right? It could be for email automation and SMS automation. It could be multiple of all of these. But knowing how a marketing automation suite works will automatically build, or rather catapult, a person, a professional, into the higher echelon of employability within marketing of any particular domain. Then, of course, automation systems which are a little more key and core. Email marketing by itself, WhatsApp marketing, messenger marketing. These are skills that I think today, in today's day and age, it is a vital portion of direct communication. And that is
Right.
very important because as soon as you have data, you need to have that engagement ongoing without depressing a customer. I'm also going to say that display advertising is an important aspect to know, right? It is more wide and useful for the awareness stage, and most organizations, until they reach mid-sized business or large business, tend not to do display advertising all that much because they like to focus their marketing resources onto specific actions and activities that give them more immediate results. But until people, I mean, there's a saying that goes, if people don't know you, how can they love you, right? So display advertising delivers on that. So programmatic display, native display, as well as a mix of those where platforms allow it. So learning Google ads, maybe a meta ads. Nowadays, also important Bing ads because it delivers to specific type of applications and platforms can be a very useful part. Not to be left out at slightly later stages is content marketing, which happens in two ways. One is slightly more on the SEO side, where it is dispersing it across onto various platforms and groups that are audience specific or audience contextual. And the second part is advertising content, which could be, and I'm just throwing out the same company name, but there are many others as well. It could be via a Taboola, for instance,
Right.
right? And much higher up the ladder in one's career, you'll finally want to get into digital PR, because
Hmm.
PR is one of the most, while it is a little more, it requires a little more time, effort, and a consistent manner of approach. It is something that once your brand, name, product, etc., is out there, it is not something that is going to disappear. And most news based outlets tend to be very high DA websites and applications that have better recognition on discovery platforms like search. And therefore, over time, that leads back to increasing one's own brand on the discovery area. After awareness comes discovery, and it's better for discovery if there is PR backing it all up. So understanding digital PR is a very important part as well.
So we talk about the multiple options are there. It can be SEO, it can be social. In social, also the organic content to grow, bring the growth, or the advertisement to bring the growth. Now, in the whole chain, we are seeing the content is one of the critical part, right? Either it can be the textual content or it can be media content. In the media, again, it can be image content, video content. So these are the three main categories we see: image, text, and the videos. Now, in recent time, we see the impact of AI on the content generation. Okay, so how you see the impact of AI in content generation? How it's leading? Is it helping digital marketing, or is it creating also some threat for content creator, content professional?
You brought up a very good point, because the entire story I had mentioned that individuals need to understand audiences, and the next part is, of course, how does content relate back to those audiences. And so the formats of content are various. You have, at the very basic requirement, long form, short form, and mid form content. This is in the form of articles, it could be in the form of reports, it could be in the form of snippets. There are various formats. You'll have video, you'll have image based, you'll have animated images, and in today's day and age as well, you will have voice. It is also very important in today's day and age for content to be AI researchable and AI result relevant. That means that it needs to answer specific kind of questions in a very simple and human consumable manner. So the manner in which that is put out is very like your structured snippets that you would have on websites for search engines to actually deliver. And doing that in today's day and age is fine for AI systems to pick it up. Now I'm getting to your more focused question on how does AI come into play in today's day and age where creative is concerned. Now, creative is all about making people feel like they are having a connection with what they are seeing. It's creative is usually visual, even if you're reading it. If you're seeing an image, it is still a visual media where you find relevancy in what you're seeing, whether it's a painting, a poster, or an image that has been shot as a photograph, or a video that has been taken on a beach somewhere, whatever it may be. I'm coming to AI, but first is creativity. Creativity is all about delivering what a person might either find useful, entertaining, or engaging. Entertaining and useful leads to engagement, but engagement can also happen in isolation where something is new or has not been seen, right? So far, creative has depended very greatly on human ingenuity, and I do not see that going away. In fact,
Mm-hmm.
over the next few years, where there is more frequent and intrinsic use of AI systems to develop content of various formats, people
Mm-hmm.
will be looking out for realism. People will most likely be
Mm-hmm.
looking out for the humanness in any kind of content, whatever the format. That being said, AI in today's day and age can be set up to very specifically deliver a human edge, right? I've put out a course on ChatGPT for digital marketers, for instance, and that the first lesson is how do you customize ChatGPT, and it can be done for any large language model so that it is behaving and has traits that is just like yours.
Right.
So, say for example, if you are a content developer, an SEO content developer developing chat or developing long format content, you can actually upload your previous content, give ChatGPT various or any LLM very specific instructions, custom instructions on behavior, kind of use of language, etc. There are about 10, 15 kind of criteria for that, localization, colloquialism, etc. So that it is then delivering content exactly like what you would develop or deliver on your own. So I'm just giving that as an example, but these are tools for now. In the next year, 2 years, there will be agentic AIs that will take over roles. Yes, I'm saying it, and there is no doubt about it.
Mm-hmm.
For developing content, for writing scripts, for creating video. But for the next few years, people who are already doing this, the objective will be for them to know how to utilize the various tools. And as humans, we've always utilized tools, be it a pen, be it a paintbrush, be it
Mm-hmm.
software to develop and manipulate graphics. Everything that we utilize to do our work better is usually a tool. Going forward, the tools are going to be AI enabling systems, right? So, for a creative artist, it might be how do I visualize and therefore put together the kind of prompt to deliver to me quickly the kind of creative, it could be a static or a GIF, that I require. For a video content developer, it could be what do I think of, how do I visualize, is there rotoscopy involved, is there some kind of lighting aspect involved, what is it to develop a particular type of prompt to maybe put onto runway ML to give me a snippet that is going to let me put or stitch together a story that is going to deliver some kind of effective messaging or advertising, right? So the kind of skills where AI comes into play, AI is not going to automatically do everything for an organization or a agency or a business or a brand
Mm-hmm.
automatically, not now at least.
Right.
Right now, everything is as a tool, and like we've had Adobe Illustrator, or we've had in the early days Microsoft Paint, or it could be Word that we're using to type out something. But these are software and tools that we are using to do our work better. The new age tools are software, and in the very near future, agentic AIs that will help us get what is in the mind out a lot faster and possibly better.
So in the creative aspect, we see still there is time because automatic photo generation, video generation will take some time. But for copyright or textual generation, we are seeing the some hit from the AI side, right? Because AI can generate more approximately 90-95% of the content what copywriters do, right? So then we are seeing many people are not hiring that much copywriter or content writer as they used to hire previously because now they are taking the help of the AI to create or write the more content. And we have seen the content generation has been around 100x or 1000x in last 1 year than what happened in the previously.
I agree to it. The point, now I'm just going to distill your point. The point is speed of outcome,
Mm-hmm.
right? There is still, so an AI is going to generate and deliver what I would consider a draft.
Mm-hmm.
There is always the need to improve upon that to make it consumable, human relatable. Yeah. People will still be doing original content. People
Mm-hmm.
will still be utilizing their own minds to be able to deliver and type into or create various creative products. The difference will be organizations, brands, individuals who want to do more of any particular activity faster. That is where the difference comes in. Brands and organizations aren't letting go of people, they're enabling people in today's day and age to do what they're doing a little faster, possibly with a little bit of help. And that is where the game is as of today's day and age. People I talk to across brands, industries, organizations, both large and small, are not reducing their marketing teams, are not reducing copywriters, for instance. Yeah. But they are insisting on getting individuals within organizations up to speed on the various tools available within AI, so that they are doing their jobs and doing it where necessary with the aid of these tools available. And AI, like I mentioned before, is a tool, right? The job market is not decreasing on that front, right? However, employability may depend upon being able to utilize these emerging tools. Yep. The point at which people will be completely replaced is a few years off, maybe half a decade, because you don't have individual AIs completely competent on doing anything on their own as yet, including upcoming agentic AIs. They still require the right kind of input, right? I'm going to give you an example out here. It is the shift in the cumulative human know-how. For example, when steam engines came into play, right? There were rail engines, there were steam-based cars that first came into place. An entire industry of horses, horse breeding, horse carriages, horse care, horse components like horseshoes, etc., was destroyed in about a decade.
Right.
Yeah. But another industry or more industries emerged from that. The shift happened where people who were maybe making horseshoes now needed to know how to change a tire or how to make machine parts, right? The development of technology will always happen, and it is a continuous thing. Like I mentioned before, technology builds on technology, and there will be dramatic shifts. Learning new technologies, learning these new skills will then lead to employability, is what the point has been.
Right. And in my recent book, The Game of Skill, I mentioned the same thing, right? Because that's the only option you're having. You learn the new skills to make sure you align with the market. Otherwise, you
Absolutely.
again will be back of the market, right?
Correct.
And that will keep on happening. We have seen the evolution from multiple years. Every time new evolution comes, the people have to upgrade themselves to adopt to the market.
Yeah. I'll make one last point on this one, and this is on the creative front itself. Is that original human face activities, people who are creating content, who are showing that they're actually creating content and putting it out there, will likely attract a lot more human interactions in the days going forward. Where, or rather why? Because there is that much more artificially created content out there as well. So people by nature are voyeuristic. I am looking at you on the screen. We are having a conversation. It could
Right.
be at a coffee shop. It could be in a movie where that interaction is happening of human. People like looking at what other people are doing, saying, etc. And this is built through millennia of interaction and behavior. So it is not something that is going to likely fade away. So going forward, where content is concerned, where there is humanness to it, it is more likely to be relevant and successful than not.
So as we discussed, multiple options are available in digital marketing career, and we see the future CMO also head of digital will be from the digital background only, right? Because that
Yes.
will be there in the future, right? So how we see the future growth plan? Anyone who's starting, what should be the growth plan for them to reach higher in their career?
Like you had mentioned before, and I merely supported that statement, is that continuous learning, upskilling is going to be crucial and critical for any kind of career development. And it is the learning individual, the learning professional that rapidly grows, because for each level of career development, the responsibility to control and operate a larger environment increases that much more, right? One can do it by brute force of just being there and making sure that things are happening, or one can do it intelligently by having the know-how and skill set to make sure that everyone else is then brought up to speed on what the teams need to do and do it well. That is something that is unlikely to change in the near future, where people do not actually need to work. Then where people are working, this need to gradually or rapidly upskill, cross skill, and therefore find levels of elevation in one's career, or the possibility to increase one's elevation is always going to be there. For digital specific, the roadmap is going to be, like I mentioned before, audiences, content, the entire range of content, formats of content, platforms for content delivery, platforms for advertising, and finally managing data is where the saying kind of grade will most likely be. In the middle of it all, platforms that integrate all of this.
So when you used to take the interview, what are the skills that you have seen when you're hiring for any of the roles?
So within marketing, a lot of it is all about storytelling. And one of the criteria that I utilize for any kind of interviews that I have conducted is for candidates to be able to tell a story. And it could be a story of anything, from a holiday one has taken to how a tire, not just punctured, got a tire burst, and how a vehicle was avoiding an accident and how the entire situation unfolded. It could be talking about one's best friend. I'd never asked for personal information, but it is the ability to tell a story. And marketing is all about storytelling. Digital marketing more so, because it involves nuances, putting together various individual traits, behavioral traits, access media, and the formats of media. So, understanding a whole lot of different aspects, all brought together to tell a story. I, yes, look at resumes, but the resumes come to me, or I do the filtering to see, all right, are the skills there? Has an individual already utilized those skills? But then, is the person marketing capable? And for marketing, you need to be able to tell stories. How do you tell stories? How do you define stories? How do you section stories? What is the beginning? What is the context? What is the outcome? But it is not all doom and gloom. It is never doom and gloom. Yeah. People who are capable will most likely be found and recruited more easily than people who are not. Yeah. It's as simple as that.
So what's your final advice to all the people who want to build their career in digital marketing?
So this is something that I do for myself, and I encourage everyone to do it as well, is once a year, maybe more than once a year, sit down and list out everything you know, look at your resume, and see, is there any kind of skill that you have learned in the past that you are not current and up to date on? Redo that. Keep it current. Part 1. Part 2 is, if you are not adding a new skill every 3 months, there is someone else out there who is. So be competitive by being current. Be competitive by being knowledgeable and having the know-how. There is so people say there is an ocean and there are lots of fish. We're all fish in the ocean. Yeah. It is about meandering and finding your way to the right kind of area of the ocean where you are going to be successful and you're going to flourish and thrive. You need to be able to identify what excites you. You need to be able to identify what are the areas or aspects of a particular kind of role that would be most beneficial for you and where you'll be most beneficial to the role, and to be able to deliver on that by having the right skills for that role. So coming back right to the first part of this discussion is listing out everything you know, putting together what skills are required to accomplish that. Part 1. Part 2, listing out everything that you would like to do, researching what is out there, finding out what skills are necessary for that, combining the two of these to say, I have these skills, I can do X, Y, Z, but not completely. To completely do something, I need to know X, Y, Z, PQR skills, and therefore to be able to learn that, to be able to do what is out there. Roles are also rapidly evolving, and therefore people need to know what roles are evolving into how. AI can help with that.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Rashid, for your time and sharing all the valuable insight. And many people will learn a lot from this one. Thank you so much.
I am happy to have been. I'm happy for this opportunity to have had this discussion. And if anyone has questions, they can put it out to you and to me, and we shall hope to answer them.
Sure. I
Thank you
will
so
put the
much.
link of your LinkedIn and the courses on the description. So anyone want to check the courses and the connect with your LinkedIn will be able to do it.
Absolutely great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.